The White House disputes that Trump thinks of himself as a king. Yeah, they might want to scrub their Twitter posts. This is just another day. This weekend is Father's Day, but unfortunately, there's only one daddy who matters to Republicans.
Preparations are underway for President Trump's military parade this Saturday in Washington. It's being held in honor of the Army's 250th birthday. Here's some of the equipment arriving in Maryland. This weekend, more than 6,000 troops, 150 vehicles, dozens of aircraft and horses, and even 2 dogs and a mule will march through Washington, D.C.
Yes, nothing showcases our military's might like one mule. I gotta say, though, it sure is nice to see Charlie Kirk finally get the recognition he deserves. On Saturday, June 14th, or as Trump will probably call it, Mule Liberation Day, Washington, D.C. is going to host the nation's most unnecessary and out-of-touch military parade. And if you thought Trump randomly pulled June 14th out of one of his pro-America hats that were made in China, well, I'm sorry to disappoint you.
And this one has become more controversial. One reason is the cost, and the other is the date. Official estimates say the parade could cost as much as $45 million. And while June 14th does mark the Army's 250th anniversary, June 14th is also the birthday of President Trump.
A $45 million birthday gift. And I thought David Geffen posting about isolating on his yacht during COVID was tone deaf. But Trump takes it to a whole new level. And I find this expenditure just a little bit surprising considering this little phrase he's been vomiting since forever.
3 words. We don't want any waste, fraud, or abuse. Very simple. Waste, fraud, abuse.
That's right. Trump likes his words the same way he likes his wives, in groups of 3. But I have to ask, can you think of a bigger example of waste, fraud, and abuse than an American president using taxpayer dollars to throw himself a $45 million tank and mule-infused birthday party? This is the stuff of autocrats and dictators, leaders who use the men and women of the military like toys in their toy chest as a way to project strength. Think about how much easier all of our lives would be if only Trump had gotten into art school. So it's not at all surprising that the last thing Trump wants is for anyone to rain on his literal parade.
We're going to be celebrating big on Saturday. We're going to have a lot of, and if there's any protester who wants to come out, they will be met with very big force. By the way, for those people that want to protest, they're going to be met with very big force. And I haven't even heard about a protest, but, you know, this is people that hate our country. But they will be met with very heavy force.
Protesters will be met with very heavy force. Not rioters, protesters. Because this president cares even less about Americans' rights to peacefully assemble than he does about Eric. Donald Trump does not care about law and order. He just wants a fight. Why do you think he's such a huge UFC fan? Not gonna lie, I get goosebumps seeing him confined to a small space behind that fence. But just as Trump escalated tensions by defying the wishes of the governor of California and the mayor of Los Angeles by federalizing our National Guard and unnecessarily sending them to Los Angeles to provoke people, he's doing the same thing now by threatening protesters with heavy force. A comment which rightfully rattled a lot of people and deserves some clarification today.
If there were peaceful protests on Saturday for the military parade, President Trump would allow that.
Of course the president supports peaceful protests. What a stupid question.
No, that's not a stupid question. A stupid question would be like, what's Stephen Miller's favorite color? None, because parasitic demons can't see color. But asking whether Donald Trump is okay with peaceful protests is an extremely valid question considering his former Secretary of Defense went on record saying this after Trump's first term.
What specifically was he suggesting that the U.S. military should do to these protesters?
He says, can't you just shoot them? Just shoot them in the legs or something. And he's suggesting that that's what we should do, that we should bring in the troops and shoot the protesters.
The commander-in-chief was suggesting that the U.S. military shoot protesters.
Yes, in the streets of our nation's capital. That's right. Shocking.
Well, shocking to Mark Esper, but not shocking to the man who currently calls our president's colon home.
We very much support President Trump's focus on defending the homeland on our southern border, as well as supporting law enforcement officials doing their job in ICE in Los Angeles who deserve not to be assaulted, accosted, and rioted while rounding up one of the 21 million illegals allowed in as an invasion under the previous administration. It's about maintaining law and order on behalf of law enforcement agents who deserve to do their job without being attacked by mobs of people.
You know, I'm old enough to remember when Fox hosts attacked the president for a blowjob. Now they're all like... Pete Hegseth, along with every member of Trump's team, is knowingly aiding and abetting our power-hungry lunatic of a president who, thanks to his racist and callous policies, is fomenting chaos in cities around the nation. Or, to put it another way...
He wants to see an end to the chaos and the violence. He doesn't want to see law enforcement officers being attacked. He wants to see peace.
He wants to see peace? The man can't even see his own penis. Peace, I assure you, is not on his list. He wants to rule like a king, which may explain why, besides Saturday being Trump's birthday parade, it's also No King's Day, a nationwide day of protests around the country in defiance of Donald Trump's disastrous second term.
There are protest activities being organized for this weekend. Part of it are Democrats saying they want to reclaim the American flag. It's also being titled No King's Day. Does the president see himself as a king, and does the White House expect to see American flags being flown during these protests this weekend?
The president views himself as the president of the United States of America. This is a constitutional republic, and we want to see all of our citizens be proud of the country in which they are given the privilege and the blessing to live.
These No King Day protests are what it looks like when people are proud of their country but disagree with the actions being taken by their government. They are protesting real things that have taken place, not election rigging that never happened. The protests in Los Angeles are precisely what pride looks like. Well, not this. This is what a disgruntled Waymo rider looks like when he's late for his Pilates class. But these peaceful protests are a reaction to America's not king having a hell of a lot of king-like tendencies. Oh, sorry, was this just a silly joke when the White House posted it a few months ago? Sorry if we didn't get it. It's just that the lines have been a little blurry lately. You know, with the whole threat to eliminate habeas corpus, defying Supreme Court rulings, circumventing governors to federalize the National Guard stuff. See, we don't want our commander-in-chief doing character comedy. He's not Larry the Cable Guy. And by the way, I think people would also be a bit confused if, when Larry the Cable Guy got off stage, he went to work as an actual cable guy. We want a democratically elected official who respects our laws and our Constitution instead of someone who says things like this on the campaign trail.
Former President Donald Trump is in your news feeds this morning for suggesting parts of the U.S. Constitution should be terminated.
Gosh, I still can't figure out why millions of Americans found this joke so hard to digest. And just so I'm understanding Caroline Levitt correctly, when this guy wants to shred a Waymo, it's anti-American, but when this guy wants to shred our Constitution and founding documents, it's patriotic? Got it. When the sitting president of the United States has routinely undermined the fabric of our democracy by eroding our system of checks and balances, filled every cabinet position with cult-like loyalists, forced colleges and law firms to bend the knee for any scraps of federal funding, and done everything in his power to blunt all forms of public criticism, asking if Donald Trump would allow peaceful protests at his birthday parade is not a stupid question, but calling it that is a stupid answer. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.